For the second part, now we have actually produced a series of layers. Like this basically, right? So if you could, it's almost like a series of patterns that you can, templates basically, that you will use to laser cut. Now the interesting thing is, because we put that in a box, that you can use both the positive and the negative space of the model. So the laser cutter will go and cut like boom, 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 boom. It will cut the shapes out for you, right? So these three shapes are the positive, and the rest is the negative. So you're not throwing out the remaining piece. It's not trash, okay? The leftover is another model. So technically you're making two models out of one file, the positive and the negative, both. Okay, is that clear? We're going to maximize and not have any waste out of this model at all, zero waste. All right, so you have a file. We talked about creating those templates. All right, so you have the positive and the leftover negative space. This polyline should be really clean, continuous. There should be no gaps. Each shape, you should be able to select it into a closed shape. Jeffrey, you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused on the way we're supposed to lay out the faces, I guess.
Okay.
Because are we only supposed to do 6 of them? And I'm kind of confused with this extra part also.
Okay, so how many do you do? These are, think about it, okay? You're using a 1/4 inch thick material right here, and you're stacking it, okay? So 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4, it needs to build up to 6 inch, right? Because our cube is 6 by 6 by 6. So how many 1/4 inch layers do you need to reach that 6 inch cube?
24.
Exactly, right? So 24. Now for the, we have two approaches, right? If you do cork, we only ordered 2 6-packs, right? So we ordered 12 tiles only. So if you're working with cork, you just need 12 because that's how much material we ordered. All right. If you work with corrugated, we got a big sheet, so you can cut all 24. In your case, Jeff, you ordered cork, right? So you ordered cork, you have 12 tiles. So you want to choose which 12 are you cutting, the front 12, the back 12, as long as it's consistent so you can glue them together, you'll have to make a choice, right? Is it which 12, which half are you building? The front half or the back half?
Oh, the front half.
Good. So all you need is 12 layers in your case, right? If you're doing cork.
So I just need to line 12 of these, and just, do I leave the extra over here, or because I saw on your screen?
Yes, I will walk you through the second part now to show you exactly what you need to do with these layers, okay?
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten to that yet. All right.
Oh, sorry.
So no problem. The cork people will have 12 layers. The corrugated cardboard people will have 24 layers, all right? For those who are using cork, we're going to be smart about it. Again, there is zero waste, right? So you're going to have 12 layers positive and 12 layers negative, and we're going to put them together to create the 6 by 6 cube. So every student will end up with a 6 by 6 cube. All right. All right. So am I sharing? Let me share again. All right. So what do you do now with these layers? All right. So I'm going to quickly duplicate. This is not accurate. I just want to create a quick visual of what it may look like. All right. So the corrugated cardboard people should have 24 layers, all their contours laid down flat on the ground. The core people will have just 12 individual tiles. Okay, so once you do that, you move on to the Fab Lab website, NYCCT Fab Lab. Okay, this is the website, and you're going to go to laser cutting under fabrication tab. This is what the laser cutter looks like. We're going to be using I think the blue one is the active one right now. Both are there in the school. You'll see it when you visit them. Here you'll see a series of protocols, guidelines, what materials are acceptable or what is forbidden. For example, you cannot cut foam or certain mirror or glass. Why is that? Because the laser cutter is literally using a beam of laser that creates a flame, and materials can burn in the laser cutter. It can be quite dangerous. So you don't want any reflective materials because they amplify the flame, and they can become a fire hazard. So chipboard, cardboard, cork, paper, all these are materials that are okay to cut on. Now, here is a laser cutter primer. You should definitely watch that in addition to the recording that I'm doing now, just to get more comfortable with the process. There is a certain appointment system where you can book appointments for laser cutting. I'm going to submit all the works for you on your behalf to avoid individual appointments. Given the COVID restrictions, we want to be a little bit more coordinated. So, but before COVID, everybody used to do their own appointment and go into the school, get their material, and get their work laser cut. So the process right now is downloading a template that works with the laser cutter. So the laser cutter gets instructions from your Rhino file and executes, right? So what does it execute? It executes either cuts, stitch cuts, scores, or edges, right? What does that mean? The laser cut can either go deep and cut, or it can not go so deep and score. So it's like a knife, but it's kind of a laser knife, really. In our case, we want to do cutting. Notice there is a distinction between an inner cut and an outer cut. So think about it like that. If you want the laser cutter to cut the shapes, the laser goes down and goes like and cuts the shape, cuts the shape, cuts the shape. These are all inner shapes. The outer shape is this, right? So if you do this as an outer shape, it will cut and potentially move a little bit and go off the axis, right? So you want to do all the inner ones first and then finish off with the outer cut at the end. So there is a little bit of staggering of how you approach it. If you do outer first, things may slightly move and misalign. That's why we're doing the inner first, and then the laser cutter beam moves to the outer edges. Does that make sense as a process, why the laser cutter needs to know this distinction?
Yes.
All right. That's why you have layers. Basically, each layer in our Rhino template file will give an order to the laser cutter, and it's a command. It says, hey, start here, do the inner first, then move to the outer. What does this template look like? Okay, it's very, very simple. It looks just like this. I will show you how to download it. And it has certain frames in it, which is what the cut areas are for the different laser cutters. The blue one, the red one, the gray one. These are different laser cutters that are available at the school. And this is the laser cutter bed, which means that this is how big of a surface the laser cutter can cut, which is a pretty big surface, right? It's a pretty big machine. Here is what the cuts that I mentioned to you: score cut, edge cut, inner and outer cut, meaning that whatever we place in here, it has to be on these predefined layers. You cannot create your own layers here. This is a specific template that the laser cutter operator will use to cut. All right, so no external layers here. So what does that mean? That means that I can get my template, okay, in this case, to simply copy and paste it. Oops, yes, sorry, I think I pasted it twice, into the template. This is now in the outer cut layer. So let me place it here. It should be blue. And I will work to adjust the layers in a second. I'll give you two approaches, separate for the cork and separate for the corrugated cardboard. Okay, Jeffrey?
Yeah, where do I find the template for the Rhino?
Okay, yes. So you go to the website NYC City Fab, and you go to fabrication, laser cutting, and download template from here. So when you go to download, it will give you a couple of options. The Mimaki cutter is something else. It's not a laser cutter. It's a beautiful machine. We're not going to use that now though. Scale People template is something else. It's a template with people in it, ready for laser cutting. AutoCAD laser template. We're not using AutoCAD. We're not using Illustrator. We're using Rhino. Okay, so you want to move to the last template that says Rhino 6 laser template and click to download. So when you click to download, it actually, this for some reason is connected to Box. I did not have an account with Box. I had to create one for free to download it. So I have the Rhino here, the Rhino file for you, already downloaded, and I will put that in the chat for you right now, okay?
Oh, okay, so we could just take it from the chat and download it?
Yes, you can get it from the chat. I put that in the chat right now. Or you can download it. You may be prompted to create a free account with Box in order to be able to download, which is totally fine. That's what I did during the break, okay? Okay, so now everybody should have the template. If you open up the template, it looks just like this that I walked you through the layers. When I copied and pasted my layers, I created this layer called curves. We do not want to have any external layers here, remember. So I made sure to move my work onto the correct layer, and then I can delete the curve. So there should be no other layers other than the predefined layers that you see in the template. So far, so good?
I don't see the link in the chat.
It's an actual Rhino file. It's not a link. I can put the link for you there too. Okay, so I've put that link in the chat. So I've put both the link and the actual template file, both. Here, I'll put that link also for you to download.
Okay, thank you. I think I can't see the Rhino file because I'm not on the computer.
No problem, yes. You can take your time, do that after I finish with this short demo. Any other questions? Tiffany, any suggestions from your end? Okay, good.
Yes, also, yes. When you paste over, make sure you don't have duplicates, because that used to always be a problem.
Absolutely. So duplicate is if I accidentally paste a couple of times and I don't even realize it, I may end up with two forms that are one on top of each other. So if you're trying to select a surf, like an outline, a curve, and you're given two options, it means that there are duplicates there. So you certainly want to make sure that there is just one line. It's a good point. Okay. So now for the cork people, what happens with the laser cutter is the following. Like when the laser cutter tries to cut this, it burns it a little bit. It burns every material a little bit. but with the cork, it burns it quite a lot. So what we will do is we will only score it very lightly so you can get the pattern. And then you have to finish cutting by hand with your cutter. So with your Olfa knife, actually. So for the cork people, you want to take this into the score layer, change object layer, just score one way, and you're done. All right. That's for the cork people. For the ones who are using corrugated cardboard, you're going to have to do the inner and outer thing. All right. So I'm going to place everything in the inner, change object layer.
I don't think you're sharing your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me try that one more time. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to show two different ways for cork and one for corrugated. So did you see when I was showing you the duplicate, or that was not showing either?
Oh, I don't think the screen was showing earlier.
Okay, so the duplicate is if I select on any curve and it gives me two options for two curves, it means there are duplicates here. Okay, so I want to make sure that I select one and delete it. When you click on any surface, it shouldn't give you options what to select. There should be single lines, no duplicates. All right, so now for the cork people, select the 12 tiles, put them in the score layer, change object layer, right? So the layer should be green. You should have 12 tiles and they should be green. For the corrugated cardboard people, you should have 24 layers. They should fit in the template. If they don't fit, you have to make them a little bit tighter. If they do not fit with the tightest possible configuration, we'll have to cut it in two. We'll have to cut it in two different times to make sure that it fits. We can adjust a little bit our sheet. Do not worry about that. Make it as tight as possible. If it doesn't fit, I will help you with that separately. So for the corrugated cardboard people, you make everything, place it in the inner layer, so it's pink. And then you want to select just the outer pieces, only the outer, and move them into the outer layer. So change object layer. This is outer. So you should have only pink and blue. So the interesting thing and our hope here is that you will be able to see two different, oops, here I have two options. I want to select the outer. Our hope is that you will be exposed to two different ways of model making with cork and with corrugated cardboard. So cork should look like this, corrugated cardboard should look like this. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm on the website. I just wanted to make sure, which one are we downloading? Is it this one in blue or?
Well, read. What does it say?
NYCCT Fab AutoCAD 2018 laser.
Right, so you have a template in AutoCAD, you have a template in Illustrator, and then the very last one is a template in Rhino. This is the one that we're using, okay?
Oh, okay.
Other questions?